Welcome all of you. Thank you for joining us. We will start now and wait for the rest to join us. Thank you, Bill, for the introduction and for welcoming us all. So today we are going to tackle a very interesting topic. The topic is on the unique role of social enterprises in challenging times. So I'm going to welcome my panelists. We have John Mbugwa, the founder of Y Media. Then we have Vincent Otieno, who's a policy specialist at One Acre Fund. And then we have Phoebe Maina of Steri Tours. So this is a very diverse panel. We are going to listen from somebody who works within the policy, and then we're also going to listen to what social entrepreneurs are saying about what is happening within the social enterprise sector, especially in these challenging times. We know that it's not just COVID that is challenging, but we have other challenges. So I'll allow them to introduce themselves, and then we will get down to the nitty-gritty and just dig into this discussion. And we hope that all of us will learn something. We request our guests to kindly type in their questions in the chat, and then we will get to your questions at the end. We will also, if we have time, we will also ask some of you to ask questions. So, karibuni nyote. We will start with Phoebe to just introduce herself and her organization, and then let us continue from there.
Okay, thank you so much, Matilda, and thank you for the opportunity to share experience, and I'm glad to be part of this panel. I am Phoebe, the CEO of Steri Tours and Travel, a socially responsible travel company based here in Kenya. And yeah, we care about people and planet, and finally think about profit. So we are very excited to do tours and travel where we think about social impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Phoebe. John, kindly introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you so much for having me today, Matilda. So my name is John Mbugwa. I'm the co-founder of Y Media. So what Y Media have done is that we do consult for micro and small medium enterprises in digital marketing space, and also we do normally advise them on the best channels they can people to use to market their products. Also, we do consult for them in sales strategy. We do also organize for them activation. So over the years, we've been able to consult for 15 micro and small medium enterprises, and the impact being increasing sales. So I'm looking forward to this conversation, which revolves around social enterprises. Thank you so much for having me today.
Okay, thank you so much, John. We welcome Vincent to introduce himself.
Thank you so much, Matilda, and good morning, everyone. My name is Vincent Otieno. I currently work as a policy specialist at One Acre Fund. So I'll share with you a slight story of what we do at One Acre Fund. We are a non-profit social enterprise that provides farm inputs and training to help smallholder farmers grow their way out of hunger and build lasting pathways to prosperity. So over the years, by listening to our farmers, we've been able to build an innovative business model that meets their needs. So basically, we sell asset-based loans, and farmers repay their loans in small installments over duration of time. And this income is reinvested back into the program. Currently, One Acre Fund supplies over 1 million farm families across 6 countries. So we have 6 core countries of operation. And we supply them with what they need to grow more food and earn more money. So in a nutshell, One Acre Fund envisions a world where all farmers have big harvests, healthy families, and rich soils. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vincent, for that introduction. So now we can get into our topic of the day. So we are looking at the unique role of social enterprises in challenging times. And as we discuss these roles, we're looking at the resilience and adaptability of social enterprises, especially at a time like this when we are facing the COVID-19 crisis. And we also are looking at other issues that have been there before the COVID-19 crisis. So it's kind of maybe a buildup of many challenges that we need to actually face and actually tackle within this period and this challenging time. So for social enterprises, we are seeing them as growing either more resilient or some of them just falling off the wagon and not existing anymore. Then for organizations like social enterprises, which have a survival mindset, their aim is to deal with the realities that the world imposes. So while they are trying to deal with that and also mitigating what is hitting them left, right, and center, then we are seeing that we are learning a lot. And then they're also doing it and becoming successful along the way, and also tapping into new opportunities that are sprouting. Then as social enterprises pursue their mission, they are also welcoming new realities and reimagining new norms and assumptions in ways that were not possible before. So we are going to look at all this and see how these social enterprises are adapting and re-engineering themselves and even repositioning themselves to actually mitigate the challenges and also to overcome those challenges and turning some of those challenges into opportunities. So my first question will go to Vincent. We will go now in the reverse. Kindly describe for us, Vincent, the challenges prevalent in the social enterprise space from the perspective of your organization.
All right, thank you so much, Matilda. And I like it that you've mentioned that social enterprises are currently adapting and re-engineering themselves to stay afloat amidst the challenges that we're currently facing. So I'm going to tackle only two challenges today, and then subsequently, I guess you're going to give us an opportunity to also discuss how exactly are we positioning ourselves as social enterprises to ensure that we are very well part of the mitigation and solutions to some of these challenges. So at One Acre Fund, as you'd all imagine, the key challenge right now for the past almost 1.5 years has been COVID-19. So COVID-19 restricted movements, prevented gatherings, and slowed the economies. And we realized that the most pressing challenge for the farmers that we serve was going to be hunger on top of the health challenges presented by the pandemic. So our business model has, or rather includes distribution and training of the smallholder farmers. So with restricted movements, it was difficult for us to distribute farm inputs to locations where farmers can easily access them. So that service within our business model was hugely impeded. Secondly, we also train farmers on the best ways they can use and correctly apply the farm inputs we distribute to them. So farmers attend the trainings in groups, and our field officers or extension officers, if you like, conduct the trainings to farmers in groups. Now you can imagine with prevented gatherings, it was impossible for farmers to come together to attend training on how to apply these inputs. So this is just a quick example of how COVID-19 had an impact, and of course a negative impact on our business. Now, the second challenge I'm going to speak about today is lack of recognition for social enterprises in Kenya. So social enterprises have no legal recognition, and this makes it difficult to operate in Kenya because we depend on the existing legal framework, which does not take into account the unique features of social enterprises. Now, the legal ramifications of being regulated under an existing entities or existing entities are huge and critical to the financial sustainability and development of social enterprises in Kenya. So I'm going to be very brief, and I'd only love to speak about those two challenges. Over to you, Matilda.
Thank you so much, Vincent. So I will ask Phoebe the same question. Phoebe, just let us know what challenges are prevalent in the social enterprise space from the perspective of your organization.
Thank you so much, Matilda. And actually, one of our greatest challenge, just like Vincent mentioned, was COVID-19. Being a travel company, you can be sure with COVID and curfew and lockdown, it really affected us. At some moment for a couple of months, there was no business because nobody is traveling and there is the restriction, and then the hotels were also closed down, and it really affected us and also the people that rely on our business, like the tour guides, the porters in the on the mountains, and also the drivers that we work with. So that was our greatest challenge, and also given that Kenyans had to stay indoors, and also we didn't have guests coming from other countries. Even now, they haven't resumed, coming back to visit Kenya or East Africa. It is still, COVID-19 is still a challenge for us. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Phoebe. John, from your perspective, what do you think have been the most common challenges?
Sure, thanks for the opportunity. So to add on what Vincent has said, it is very clear that we lack clear of identity. That is recognition. Because you find like when you're approaching like the stakeholders of various industries, there's a disconnect in between what we are doing as a social enterprise. You find that they don't recognize us as a way we can be able to like add value on what we are doing. So for me, it's more of a lack of clear identity or recognition.
Okay. Yeah. And within your space, is there any other challenge that is maybe specific to your enterprise?
Yeah, and also more in lack of government support in accessing the funding, which is much needed, especially now how COVID affected most of the businesses. We find accessing the funding in a way it is becoming a bit of challenge. Therefore, finding most of the social enterprises are not being able to sustain themselves in the long run. Yeah, so we find that one is being also a major challenge that we are facing on this day.
Okay, thank you so much for those insights. Now, I'll start with Phoebe. Phoebe, could you please tell us how social enterprises are adapting to the new realities brought about by these challenges? And then just narrow it down to your organization. How is your organization adapting to the new realities that have come about have been brought about by these challenges?
Okay, thank you, Matilda. And yeah, as when COVID hit, none of us was prepared for this, and we didn't even think that it would last as long as it has lasted. And so it was a time to really think and research and also become innovative so that you can continue doing business, and also acknowledging that it wasn't going to be business as usual. So we had to keep online and get to know what are people looking for, what needs there that we can meet as a travel agent. And what came into our mind was creating unique getaways, or rather packages that would help people get, at some point people got tired of staying indoors, and at the same time, they want to be careful so that they don't get sick. So we came up with packages like Momcation, where, because you realize last year high rates of gender-based violence were recorded, and so as somebody who really cares also about women and all that, we came up with a package of Momcation, where we took moms out of Nairobi, where they interact with other women as we also observe the COVID protocols. And besides that, we also came up with hiking, because we realized after sitting at home and working from home for a whole year, people were looking for something that will help them work out and also take care of their mental health. And so hiking came in handy. And so we normally, we came with hiking packages on monthly basis, sometimes 2 or 3 hiking packages, exploring our country. And since it's outdoor, it was also it worked for us in also observing the COVID protocols. And besides that, we also came up with something we called workation for entrepreneurs, because now with the only way that entrepreneurs were networking is through Zoom meeting and webinars and being online. And so we had to come up with something that was common, not the usual workshops in a conference room. So we came up with workation outside Nairobi in the bush, where you can interact and meet with other entrepreneurs when you're sharing a game drive, when you are in the pool, or even when you're having breakfast. And that really worked very well for us. It was a success. And besides that, we also did staycations, or for individuals who wanted also a breakaway, or rather just walk away from children, but at the same time relax. And so we had packages like staycations. We also had daycations. If you don't want to hike, but you want to take a day off outside Nairobi, visit a place like Lake Magadi. You know, there are so many places that we wanted to show Kenyans that they can explore and adventure, and that, while at the same time observing COVID-19 protocols. So I would say in a nutshell, we became more creative and more innovative, of which we are still doing as we continue to observe the trends online, so that we can create something that would serve our clients and at the same time giving back to the community. Because as you know, like through job creation of the drivers, the porters, the tour guides has really also helped us in bring back job opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Phoebe. Vincent, from your opinion, how have you adapted to the new realities brought about by these challenges, the challenges you mentioned in the beginning, and how has your organization actually been able to maybe create new opportunities or tap into new opportunities from this?
Okay, thank you, Matilda. So our goal number one at One Acre Fund is food security. And no matter the crisis, we all need to eat. So during lockdown, as you can remember, countries had to prioritize professions by their essentialness. And farmers universally topped the list. We depend on farmers because they grow the food that we all depend on. As such, we should remain open for business. Food security is very essential, more than ever, and we have ensured that we remain open for business by reinventing our services to keep farmers safe and supported at the same time. So I'm going to share a few examples of how we have accomplished this. So as an initial step, we trained over 1 million farmers on practical steps they can take to stay safe from COVID-19. And this, by the way, was not rocket science. It stretched all the way to the basics. For example, the importance of social distancing, hand washing, and wearing face masks. And we did not only train the farmers on these basics, but we also went ahead to supply soap, supply face masks, and ensure that our clients and extension officers were using this correctly. Secondly, we adjusted our operations to function remotely. And for the past 1 year, most of our teams have been working from home. We knew that despite the magnitude of the pandemic, we had no allowance to shut down our operations, given how critical our goal of food security is to the communities that we serve. And then lastly, we accelerated the implementation of tech tools so that we could support the field team to continue operating in a manner fit for the new normal. For example, we procured tablets to ensure that field officers could continue training farmers online, that the field officers could continue enrolling more farmers into the program online. And we also trained them to ensure that farmers could still make orders for the farm inputs that they need online. Incidentally, this now makes our services to farmers more nimble. Now, just to extend further on those 3 points, the pandemic confirms why it is important to put farmers first. And together as a team, we have used the current challenges to build a better and stronger service for the farmers. As a social enterprise that focuses on food security, we are uniquely positioned to serve farmers during this time. And I will talk about some of the examples of how we have accomplished this. So it's important to note that we are a last mile delivery organization. I'll explain. So we deliver information and products to communities in need. So the farmer is our boss and they make the rules for us. They share with us what they need and we work with them to get them the products and services they're seeking from us. Our social enterprise model allows us to center around what farmers really need and not what others think they need. It was critical to listen to the farmers during the pandemic to ensure that we tailored our services to meet their needs. I think by having a model that is centered on the need of the farmers, it's easy for us to adjust if we keenly listen to the needs of our farmers. So the business model that we have in place came in quite handy and it really helped us to adjust to the needs of the farmers. And we are a non-profit organization that operates like a business. And as such, we only succeed when our clients are successful. So for that reason, we are used to pivoting farmers' needs. The other technique is that we have built a mix of revenue streams, and this makes us more financially stable to withstand financial shocks brought about by the pandemic like COVID-19. And of course, this is coupled by making the correct financial decisions to ensure that the business remains financially sustainable and we are open for business to serve the smallholder farmers that we work with. So those are some of the steps that we have taken to mitigate the rigors of the first challenge I talked about, COVID-19. So happy to speak about the second challenge, which is lack of social enterprise legal recognition in Kenya. Now, the fundamental question to answer when considering the creation of a social enterprise law is whether social enterprises cannot fulfill their functions effectively under the existing legal framework, such that the creation of a specific law for social enterprises then becomes essential to the existence and development of social enterprises. So therefore, the primary and essential role of a social enterprise law should be and should always be to establish a precise identity for social enterprises and also preserve their essential features. You'll agree with me that some social enterprises are purely nonprofit and others are hybrid. However, the existing legal framework does not take into account the unique business models that social enterprises use to achieve their social objectives. For example, social enterprises are subjected to tax regimes like companies. And the long-term implication of this is that social enterprises will not be financially sustainable if we don't get a law that preserves the nature of our businesses. So to mitigate this challenge, I'm glad to report that One Acre Fund, together with other social enterprises in Kenya and other partners, are working with CESOC to ensure that we formulate a social enterprise policy soon so that we now find a clear defining policy which takes good care of our essential features and also acknowledges how social enterprises operate in Kenya. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vincent. John, we welcome you to just give your comments on adapting to the new realities brought about by these challenges.
So yeah, the new reality which has brought about by data is having mine being more of a digital venture, and also at the same time being working with micro, small, medium enterprises. One of the things that we have been able to adopt is technology, because of most of the micro and small, medium enterprises were not online. So we have been enhancing them on how they can be able to create their presence online. Through this, they have been able to because you notice they have a very viable product. but unfortunately, they don't know how to market. And through this pandemic, most of them, they were relying on offline channels, because we were also organizing for them activations so that they can be able to connect with the like-minded people, so that they can be able to be able to make sales. And now with the new reality which came in between after now the pandemic, we noticed that most of them, they were not being able to make sales of the same, considering that most of them, the businesses that they were operating, they were more offline. So we adopted this method, and which has been able to increase sales for them. Approximately 70%, they have been able to record sales increase in sales because of this adoption. We have been able to also figure out more about leadership. You understand that most of the organization, precisely, they were micromanaging the sales. But now, looking at it, how this pandemic has come, most of the people now are working remotely. And through this, we have come up with a method which is more because seeing how it was before, how the organization was being handled, it is good to acknowledge the employees that you have, because now for them working remotely, you are going to even trust more them when they're outside there, because you are not going to be there looking at what they are doing. So we have been able to implement this leadership in most of the in what we have been doing in our organization. I only have those 2 points in elaboration.
Okay, thank you so much, John. So thank you for your contributions, Vincent, for guiding us through the food security issues that have been faced within food security and farmers, and how you people have actually come up with ideas and also opportunities and tools to enable your farmers to actually mitigate within the sector of food security. And also, thank you, Phoebe. We've learned that your tourism, the tourism industry is becoming more creative, more innovative, and you're actually finding unique ways to mitigate the challenges. Thank you also, John, for SMEs. You're doing great things by enabling them to actually go online and be able to market more and even meet the market demands that are out there. So for my next question, we will start with you, John, to just briefly let us know what is the way forward for social enterprises and their role in these unique times. So what do you think as Y Media, or as John, the social entrepreneur, what do you think is the way forward for social enterprises?
So for me, the way forward, I can be able to elaborate it in a way that there's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, you go together. And now what this talk is doing under the umbrella of social enterprises, for this one is going to bring us to give us an identity of the same. So, and being under one umbrella, I guess now we are going to have a voice which is going to be recognized. As we started, we said one of the challenges that we are facing is lack of identity, which has been very clear in all the conversations that we have been having, even the webinars which have been attending, because we are looking at it of how we can be able to have a voice up there and be recognized as enterprise which can be able to sustain most of the livelihoods in the country, considering most of them cover under 60% of what we do, and also creating employment. So for me, I'm going to be looking at it in more in collaboration also, but precisely I must emphasize on lack of clear identity, which are looking at on how we can be able to move the conversation on by having an umbrella which is going to protect us on the same. Yeah. And I'm much happy that CSOC is working 24/7, and also is very passionate about social enterprises in the country. And I hope we are going to achieve something which is viable and which is going to sustain most of the social enterprise that we have in the country. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John, for that contribution. So if we want to go fast, we should go alone, but if we want to go far, we need to collaborate or go together, isn't it? Then Phoebe, the same question for you. Kindly just let us know the way forward for social enterprises in this time.
I would still emphasize on what John has said about collaboration. And I would give an example, like even as in the travel industry, it looks like a luxury and leisure social enterprise, but there's so much we can do together as social enterprises. For example, we like selling packages with this tagline, travel for impact. Like there are many people that we get, they want to go like maybe in Kilifi or for example in Turkana or any area in Kenya, and they don't just want to, to adventure and just relax. They want to relax, but while at it, if they're there for 4 days, the third day or the fourth day, what can they do to give back to the community? And so instead of us as a travel company reinventing the wheel, we look at what social enterprise is in that area that we can collaborate. Is it the farmers in that area? We do something together that will give our travelers an opportunity to give back to the community or even create an impact. So I would emphasize collaboration and partnership so that we can go far and we can reach, or rather we can impact on many lives and also the planet, the environment.
Thank you so much, Phoebe. Now, Vincent, you spoke about policy, and the John and Phoebe have spoken about collaborating and working together just to make the business environment better for social enterprises. So maybe Vincent, you could also let us know the way forward for social enterprises, and you could tie it in with the policy aspect to just see how now the roles have changed and how now social enterprises can become better over time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Matilda. And I agree with my two colleagues, Phoebe and John. The challenges that social enterprises face today are complex, but clearly they're not insurmountable. And I also appreciate the fact that these challenges cut across most social enterprises. And from where I see this as an opportunity for social enterprises to come together to tackle the challenges that they're facing, simply because these challenges that they face are common amongst most social enterprises. So I agree with both of them. Secondly, and also when Phoebe was speaking, I picked this from her, flexibility in our business models. Apparently, the pandemic really pushed people to a very dark space where every business was grappling to really identify how exactly are we going to remain sustainable and open for business with this pandemic in place. So businesses that were very flexible in the way in which they operate, carried the day. How can we diversify our options to ensure that we are still serving our clients? And besides the flexibility, also creating social enterprises, creating business models that are centered around their clients. What do your clients need, and how far can we go to ensure that we tailor our services and products to the needs of the clients? With the pandemic in place, I think the needs really changed, and it was wrong for us to make a very strong assumption that we're going to operate in the old fashion. So social enterprises really need to come up with these very flexible business models that can be readjusted to meet the needs of the smallholder farmers. Lastly, about the policy, again, as I have mentioned, a good opportunity for us to come together, because I know John was speaking of if we really want to go far, we have to come together, which I agree. I think the call to action for social enterprises is let's come together, let's tackle some of the key challenges that we are facing, because financial sustainability, I think, is a key metric for all social enterprises. And if we see increasing tax rates for non-profit social enterprises, then it's very much clear in our faces that it's going to be impossible for us to cope with the over-increasing tax rates in Kenya, which makes it very difficult for social enterprises to thrive in such a space. So coming together to come up with a law that will, number one, come up with a clear identity for social enterprises that sets us apart from other entities. Secondly, a policy that will preserve our features. We have very unique models, nothing that is close to a company, nothing that is close to a partnership. So coming up with a policy or a law that is going to preserve these unique features will really make it or rather will create an enabling environment for social enterprises to overcome this very huge challenge of lack of recognition. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vincent. Thank you, Vincent, for your contribution. For our final input, I will ask for Phoebe to just let us know how SESOC, because most of you are familiar with SESOC, how the Social Enterprise Society of Kenya can align with your organization or with other social enterprises to just support the whole space. So Phoebe, you can take us through and just let us know how you feel or how you think the Social Enterprise Society of Kenya can align with the organization, and how they also can support social entrepreneurship within the country.
Thank you, Matilda. I really was thinking about that. And one, I would say create more platforms and maybe events where we get to network more and meet more people that we can work together more on collaboration, and also opportunities for funding. Yeah, especially my field, it's very, we don't have, actually, if they are there are very few funding for tourism or other hospitality industry. But I would appreciate if SESOC would help us get to know where to get the investors or funding for businesses in travel industry.
Thank you so much, Phoebe. John, what is your take on how SESOC can align with your organization or other social enterprises to just improve maybe the social enterprise space?
Okay, thank you so much, Matilda. This is something which I'm been looking forward to, yeah. And one of the things that I've been looking at now, the pandemic has created new growth strategies in the ways we learn, work, read, and read. So with this said, if SESOC can be able to connect us with the mentors who have the skills that we lack, because proactively to seek out mentors who will tell you or us what we need to hear, rather than what us or what we need us to. Okay, let me rephrase that statement. To find mentors who have the skills, so that proactively to seek out mentors who tell you what you need to hear rather than what you want to hear, because this one is going to challenge us to improve. And I believe when you have good mentorship, we are going also to be able to upskill. And when you are upskilling yourself, you are going to deliver quality services, even to the clients or the people that you are consulting for. Considering me, I'm a consulting agent, yeah. And this one is going to even be able to upskill and also make an impact, which is even much needed. So to be precise, if we can be able to connect us with the mentorship who are more advanced or more in a way, who are more skill-wise, are more hands-on, we can be able to upskill ourselves and also upskill our mentors and also make an impact in various things that we are doing. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, John, for that input. And then finally, Vincent, you can let us know how you think SESOC can maybe align with the organization or other social enterprises to just improve or make these challenging times a bit more bearable for social enterprises.
Thanks, Matilda. I mean, my opinion is that the most pressing challenge for social enterprises in Kenya today is financial sustainability. And legal recognition for social enterprises will bring us closer to slaying this challenge. I'll explain to you how. If we get a proper legal recognition, which is going to set apart social enterprises from other businesses, then this is going to be a good opportunity for us to push for opportunities like tax reliefs, where social enterprises would be exempt from certain classes of taxes. The other bit is funding. I've had Phoebe speak about funding. I've had John speak about funding. The policy or the legal recognition will easily identify social enterprises to give us a good bargaining power to say, we are this entity, this is how we operate, and this is why exactly we deserve funding from either the government or different partners. So given that we are currently operating in a vacuum or tagging our businesses into other entities, it's very much hard for us to have that strong bargaining power to say, this is who we are, this is how we are regulated, and this is why we deserve this. So my call to CESOC is, I'm happy that we've taken a significant step towards formulating a policy, but that must not be enough. Let's not put our eggs in one basket, but let's diversify our options of ensuring that we are getting legal recognition for social enterprises in Kenya. Is it the policy way? Or do we also want to explore a legislative way where we influence amendments in different legislations that regulate different entities? Or do we want to have both of them in place where we are pushing for a formulation of policy, we are seeking amendments, and also pushing a bill in parliament to potentially come up with a social enterprise legislation? Yeah, so that's how CESOC can easily come in, bring more actors and players within the legal framework to support social enterprises in coming up with an exclusive legal recognition. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vincent, for your points. Now, before we wind up, we have some questions that we would. Before we wind up, we have questions that some have been posted on the chat, and I'm sure the people in the session would also like to ask some questions. So I will request Wangare, maybe if you could ask your question, and if you have a specific panelist that you want to answer, yours is already in the chat, then you could let us know who exactly your question is targeting. Wangare, you're welcome.
Hi, and yeah, it's good to be here. And yeah, so yeah, thanks a lot for this discussion. And my question is on the area of funding, and especially with we had the COVID-19 funds. Some of them were either like government or just other agencies. So my inquiry is whether there are any social enterprises probably who were able to access the funds, because yes, they were put out as for like SMEs, recovery funds, and also just resilience funds. And then also number two, in case there were probably any social enterprises that were involved in designing those funds, so that probably they can actually be able to serve the design and the models of social enterprises. Thank you.
You want to try and respond to that if you have any information? Phoebe, can you hear me? Vincent?